Monday, July 29th, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich, almost exactly 10 o'clock California time. And I start out with the stock market indexes, as you guys know. Going into futures, I get a little crypto I'm still watching, and maybe some other stuff, like continue to mention the October lows. We're almost this end of the week being in August, a month where the market frequently likes to top out August and September, going down into the October lows later on that. Right now, the stock market index is the S&P 500 E-mini September futures contract, of course, has had some trouble at the same prices that's had some trouble rallying the last couple of days. Now, you know that we broke into new low ground for several weeks, or a few weeks minimum, in most, if not, except maybe the Russell, the indexes. And as a result, probably has started a trend, and I don't want to use that word trend, downside technical correction for, I think, 2.5 months into October, period. Now, what is going to change my mind is the way it moves up. And then again, if it closes the new high ground without having any troubles, that'll change my mind to bullish. Otherwise, a lot of fiddling around could happen here. There are some gaps to go back up and try to close. I doubt that's going to happen. We've already done some significant damage to the bull move for the moment. And remember, that bull move, and I refer to it in the past tense, has been very strong for very long. A little unusual. Classic time for the top out. Overbought conditions at the top, and we got two of them, the top of the market signals, bearish engulfing signals on the high day. So here we go with 5-minute charts this time. And I've also tried to keep the same amount of data for the daily charts, a little parallel, so to speak, or recognizability, so to speak. Okay, 5-minute chart on the E-mini. Whoops, there we go. Today's rally highs, we got to a couple of times, and it backed off. Now, we came back a little bit, but the point is it did make new lows for the day a little while ago, and it's gotten back up to the same levels it had trouble on Thursday, Friday, and today again. And it could very well, roll right over here again and start to make new lows of some significance, which would be a new low for the trend, of course, below Thursday's low. And I'm sorry to say that I can put up with, so to speak, a rally, maybe even back up as high as 56.30, although I doubt that. So I think it's rolling over. To support that concept, here we go with the S&P 500, which is basically the same, getting up toward resistance and on its 5-minute chart, also running into some trouble on these recent rally highs from Thursday, Friday, and today. Now, the QQQs, a little bit different story, has been very weak and leading the way down, making new lows for a longer period of time, dropping more easily, et cetera, and has been oversold for 3 days, sorry. That would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week, and today finally coming up, and it did make, or tried to, a new high for the last 3 days, but a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger. Nevertheless, all I can expect is a rally up to 473 or 474, and that's at best. I don't even think it's going to make it quite that far, to be honest with you, but that would be rather classic. There's other reasons to think it could top out sooner, and I'll try to call that when it happens. But that's my first thought, and then down. How low? Well, I think easily 449, but the real test is going to be probably at 433, and I cannot rule out all the way down to something along the lines of 412. Remember, I got 2 months to go plus. So that's my ultimate, would be to test the lows in April. Next, QQQ 5-minute. Basically same story, but the important thing is that it's running into that Thursday, Friday, today as well, same price highs during the day or the day, and it did it again so far. Even if we can get above that level on the various charts I've just looked at, all you can expect is a little bit more of a rally up to some resistance levels like right in here, for example, and that's 474 for the Qs. Now, the NASDAQ NQ got oversold as you would expect with the others, NASDAQ, and not today. So it's rallying fairly well. And I just noticed we are stopped out of our short positions finally. And I'll show you. No, 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 not true. Sorry. We're just barely missing our stops. Oh, yeah, that's right. The high is still there. Okay. Sorry. So we're close to getting stopped out of the short sales on the high of the market, July 11th, and the next day near its high, 712. Maybe we won't get stopped out. I've been talking about it stopping right here in this ballpark level for the indexes. Let's look at the 5-minute chart on the NASDAQ NQ September futures. And wow, we came super close to one of my stops and then the other one. So no, we're still short. And the green trade lines, as they're called, reflect that. Short from that price and date right there exactly. And the next day, pretty close to the high of the day. And pretty good near the highest. Okay, next. The Dow Jones futures, we sold the high day also, but we're out of that trade as of Thursday of last week. And thank goodness, closed higher, a lot higher on Friday, although on Thursday it didn't look that good. I mean, we could have made more money, but and it jumped up on Friday and today. So I don't think this is going to go anywhere further. I can't help it. It looks like a really decent area to turn around and start sliding. We are already lower on the day by a little bit after making it higher than Friday's high. So, next, the short-term chart on the YM. Way new lows for the day, for the session, I should say. Old habit, should be session, because it's not just today. And, okay, just needed to start to make new lows. And I do think all of these new lows are going to happen this week, by the way. Russell, you could call that a double top. That's very close. Today's wick high, and it's currently down a net 26. So not only did we have a double top, but we just might have a bearish engulfing if it can get down a little bit more. We're close to the lows and close to the low of Friday. Now, it wasn't overbought within the allotted past number of days. As a result, we're not going to get a red bearish engulfing, but it's the next best thing if we have a bearish engulfing. Here is the 5-minute chart. We need to get below right here. So we're awfully close. Looks like there's a pretty good chance of it. Very interesting. Yep, that's going to be a double top. Next, bonds. Rally pretty nicely, back in the middle of today's range, came up to resistance, not quite overbought at all. So it's got more leeway in that respect. But the resistance level's been pretty good. And it seems to be lowering itself just a hair. So if bonds turn down at this point, that's going to be great for my bearish story on the other indexes, I would think. Notes, right up there and minor new high ground in notes, just barely, and not doing, it's not closing or even staying above the previous rally highs. I keep telling you that is not a particularly good sign. If it stays here, especially if it goes lower than this, and especially if it starts to make new lows, that would be a little on the bearish side, in my opinion. Now, we're not going to get a bearish engulfing red cell signal, ER cell signal, but resistance. Energies. Very sorry. The bullish engulfing on Thursday didn't work. I'm sorry about that cough. Came close to getting stopped out on Friday, but did not get stopped out quite. Not really a good day, closing poorly. And today we are out. It made a lower low, no matter how much of a rally you allowed the kicker to provide you with. And you can change the way the trailing stop moves, the speed of which, not the way, but the speed of which it moves. And anyway, there's no way you should have survived. You're out. And this is a new low and looks like a new low close below previous recent lows. Coming down next to at least my little support at 74.90, call it 75, and we're 75.5 already. If that doesn't work out and we are close, very close to oversold at 25.85, Looks very plausible. That could be a very interesting number here, 74.87. In the next day or two or three. Otherwise, maybe it's going to drop off to 71.20, and that would be crude. Natural gas, last buy signal, that one didn't work either, right? At a good spot too, but it didn't work. That's a bummer. So now we're getting oversold again. The low on the RSI at the low of the day was low enough to be turning it yellow, and no double bottom really. But wait a minute, we just reached my minimum downside objective. Wow, great, done. As far as I'm concerned, it's just making a couple ticks. That's it, and oversold. So any particular point in here, if I get some kind of a bullish engulfing or official green ER buy signal, I know that one didn't work, but that's not true. That one worked really well. That one worked fantastically. No, little loss, maybe a little profit. The bear ones have moved great, 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 and minor. Okay, but anyway, prime territory here for a bullish engulfing or a buy signal of some sort. Watch carefully what we get in natural gas. Next is heating oil. Again, bullish engulfing on Thursday of last week. Didn't work. Sorry. And it made new lows, especially today, a new low close. I think we're bumped out at the low near it on Thursday. I meant Friday. But now it looks like the right thing to have done. Certainly didn't necessarily look like it on Friday. Resistance is stopping the rallies. Had a great short sale, but out. And almost oversold. Next stop to the downside, probably 2.30 if it can get down that far, because it's super close to oversold, but that's it. That's my next call here, 2.30. And we get gold, and then wow, watch what silver and platinum are doing. Gold market has this big sideways trading range, overbought 3 times in a row around that resistance line. That worked out really well. Talked about it the day it was happening. Too bad we didn't get a bearish engulfing. So I don't trust any bounce at this particular point. I think we could make new lows for the trend down or the technical correction down. The trend is certainly not on an intermediate basis decided. It's sideways. Barely higher highs and all the lows are flat. That's basically sideways, and that's what we've got. So a breakout to the downside, this is going to be interesting, important, would generate approximately a downside objective of we'll call it 2180. But that's close to a major support area, if not actually starting to get in one. Important point, not simply a measurement from a broad trading sideways trading range, but the head and shoulder top formation I've been talking about for weeks now in silver and platinum, and it's a double. There's a head and shoulder top that worked past tense days ago in the silver market, and it's well on its way down about 50% now. Today is a new low to its minimum downside objective of 24. That little head and shoulder top right there was the last shoulder on a larger formation. That's very rare. But in a general sense, formations inside of formations are not terribly rare. But having a head and shoulder and a head and shoulder, that is. So the first minimum downside objective was a breakout of the bigger downside pattern. We're well on our way down. Nothing wrong with what's happening, but watch out. We're getting close to a support area, and we're oversold for the third day in a row. So it just might pull itself down to 69, 90-ish in very quickly here, and then have a decent bounce. That might be back up to about 28.87. And then down again, because I got to get down if I'm going to be right intermediate term to longer term to 24. Next, we have the same combination in platinum. Unreal that they would happen in both, but it has. They normally don't necessarily do the same thing at the same time. Head and shoulder top is the last shoulder high on a larger head and shoulder top, of which we did get a ER sell signal, the red bar on the high day. The breakout for the little pattern, last shoulder and the big one, has almost already been fulfilled. It got very close to it on Friday's low, but not quite. But remember, we're on our way down also for the bigger pattern downside objective, which is at 808. So there's a long way to go there. And for platinum in particular, this appears to be a much more profound, longer term. Oh, yeah, much more profound, longer term breakout if we can get all the way down to 808. Huh. Didn't realize it until now. Didn't look backward in time that much. Very, very profound. I usually have 1,000 days loaded on the average. All right, high grade copper. Almost down to support, oversold, trying to bottom out in here. Anytime this has a bullish engulfing, I'm going to get a buy signal that's been oversold for a week and a half. I'm ready to go up. Just not really pointing it out to me yet. Could be a new low close right there, right now. Close to some support. Watch carefully. Copper could be trying to do something as far as a rally back up to about, I don't know, 43, 4.3. Next, grains. Now, very profound this morning. New low for the whole damn trend in soybeans. I had a buy signal on Thursday, didn't work. Unfortunately. Dropped like a rock, dropping like a rock today again. But at the moment, we washed out way into new low ground, lots of new lows. All sell stops reasonably close to previous lows, and we're not staying down there. We're currently trading a little bit above previous lows and not too far from the high of the day. If this were to start to get stronger, and I'm including, say, tomorrow, and stay where it is, or a little bit higher, the stronger the better, this would be a bear trap or a washout and might have a decent rally back up to, again, 1080. There's something about this kind of price action that can really end up being very important. But watch this. Soybean oil. I am ready, and I'm now going to finally delete the references to this gigantic head and shoulder bottom that I thought and talked about could happen for months. We have now, and I'm also going to blow away the trend line too, the neckline. Support and resistance is good. The other, and the objective of the upside, that's not good. But this is still basically a standard old trend line. And the bottoms are sort of flat. So I'm calling it a gigantic flat bottom right triangle, but that's not quite right. But the important thing is we have now made new lows since a year ago, 13 months ago. That pretty much kills the possibility of this being a last shoulder low, which is what I was talking about. Dead. Now, in an oversold condition, all I can expect is little bounces or rallies back up to around those previous lows, which are pretty close. So what happens if we go down sharply still for another couple of days more, Tuesday, Wednesday, and get down to, I don't know, maybe below 40? That could happen. Then we're still oversold. We could have a decent rally back up to 42.5. But I'm bearish. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, as long as it doesn't close in some kind of gigantic rally. Next, meal. The only one that hasn't got all the bearish figure, evidence longer term yet. My minimum downside objective has not been fulfilled yet, but I think it's about to be fulfilled really soon. I wouldn't be surprised this week, but this week, next week. Not moving super fast yet. Almost got overbought, almost hit the resistance. I think it's in the process of rolling back over and break down and get to my objective and challenge the 290s. Next chart. We're just about made new lows for the whole damn trend in corn. It held on by the skin of its teeth. I think the lowest low was 89.50, and today's low is 390. A couple of ticks. And that low has been lows, if I remember correctly, almost to the exact tick 2 or 3 other times. So we are bouncing off of rather significant support, to be honest with you. I didn't draw it in. Okay, a little bit more different. We're up a few ticks, 50 cents. Um, it's trying to bottom out momentarily, but all I can say is 408 and 409 could stop it. And there's still a chance it could be developing a little bit of a bottom, 425. But that's it. I'm still longer term bearish. There's no major bottom forming here. This is just simply a support area that popped up over the last couple 3 weeks and a pretty good point. If it closes below today's lows, watch out. It's going to close a lot lower very quickly. That's a downside breakout, follow through breakout. Next, wheat is or did do that on Friday and had some follow through today, but got oversold in the process. So we're bouncing back a little. And again, we could come back up to 554, and there's a chance of 583. But it's iffy. No bullish engulfings. I don't have any major buy signals. I've got close to or some oversold conditions, some evidence of support or turning around, but nothing major. Okay, cattle. We've got a double top starting to pull down significantly today at resistance for the double top. Overbought on both important highs. And that would be the tops were in late June and July 5th, right in here, these two. And the last few days, Friday, Thursday, and today, but dropping down significantly, well out of overbought condition, back down to 62. I think we're coming down to a minimum of 182 very quickly, and that's almost down to support of 181 and a half. Okay, that's fine, 181 and a half. But longer term, we'll see what this bull trend line does, and that's dynamic. It's trending upwards, so it's not a horizontal support or resistance zone. Next is Piggy, overbought in resistance and almost exactly the same high on Thursday of last week in a resistance area as we had back on June 18th. Today, kaboom, we dropped off a huge amount and we broke the lows of 1 day back, 2 back, 3 back, 4 back, and 5 days ago already. And just 2 days ago, we were at the high of the whole rally, and now we've made new lows for the last 5 days. That's a pretty big break. Pretty big, pretty profound. We're heading down, I think, to test the low of the whole trend, 68.40. Crypto, Bitcoin, Bitto. We have today, now we got a bearish engulfing. Earlier, we had a new high for the trend, looking pretty good. But just recently, in the last hour or so since I've seen this, we have an outside down day at the moment, a bearish engulfing. It's not a sell signal because we don't have any overbought conditions recently. I can tell you I would expect it to drop off to 22.11. That looks like a pretty damn decent support area. I'll draw it in right now. Just a hair under that wick. But underneath these two, right about there is good. Yep, I like that. That is a 22.10, let's call it, give or take a few ticks. Yeah, 22.09. So if we stay lower than the lower than the close of yesterday, Friday, we got a bearish engulfing, and I think we're heading south for the moment. But I still caught the bottom of the market on July 8th, period. How are we doing on the E-mini? Up 17 still, not much change. Still around that resistance. Still, my comments earlier at the beginning of the show still stand, no change. You guys have a great trading day. Profitable trading to you. Bye-bye.